Hello, everybody. Good morrow. It is dark and early on Saturday morning. Hopefully, you're still asleep, unless you are, of course, having a late night. Then I'm glad you're watching. Welcome aboard. Let me begin first by wishing a sincere, enthusiastic, and hearty congratulations to my brother in law, Adam, my co-sister-in-law Brittany, and their new baby Macy. That is from Brittany's Facebook page, so I'm assuming that is an approved photo to share. Baby Macy O'Brien has now been born yesterday, May 31st. So congratulations, Brittany, Adam, and Macy. Welcome to the world. And that is now Carmine's fourth younger cousin. So, I mean, I only have three first cousins, and this young man already has five. One is older, and four are younger. So he's very lucky child, because if you ever need an organ, they say the first people that you should look to beyond your immediate siblings or a parent or something are your first cousins. So he's doing well. But seriously, congratulations to Adam, Brittany, and Macy. Beautiful name, Macy O'Brien. My wife had told me that if our son was a girl, that one of the names that she liked for a girl was Macy. Part of the deal that we had was that if it was a boy, we would name him Carmine, and if it was anything else, non-binary or female, Rachel could pick the name. Also want to wish a congratulations to Clint Eastwood, who celebrated his 94th birthday yesterday. I mean, how cool is that? That Macy O'Brien is going to have the same birthday as Clint Eastwood. I don't think it gets much cooler than that. I think that is outstanding. So congratulations to Clint Eastwood for being 94. He's one of my favorites, not only one of my favorite actors, but one of my favorite directors. And congratulations to Macy for having the same birthday as Clint Eastwood, which is a very rare thing and a very, very special thing. I'm a huge Clint Eastwood fan. They say he's working on one final movie now, and this is probably going to be his last picture. I don't really know the details. I don't even know if that's true, but that's how everybody is treating it. So I am looking forward to see if that actually is the case and if that comes to fruition. Be curious to know if you're watching, and thank you to the 8 people watching live on Twitter, aka X, right now. Let me know your favorite Clint Eastwood movie, and if you could just put it in the comments. I thought about this when I saw that it was his birthday, and I came up with a bunch. One was, honestly, too many to list because he's so great. I mean, you have to really break it down by categories, and you have to break it. I think you have to separate it between actor versus director, right? Because obviously there's a lot like Unforgiven where he does both, but there's just too many to choose from. Too many to choose from. One of my favorite comedies is Kelly's Heroes. He is phenomenal in that picture with Tully Savalas, with Don Rickles, with Donald Sutherland, and just a star-studded cast all the way around. I absolutely love Kelly's Heroes. As far as westerns go, I do love Unforgiven. I also love The Outlaw Josie Wales. Absolutely phenomenal. But as far as just thrillers or action, does it get much better than In the Line of Fire or Absolute Power? I mean, that just goes to show you the power of Clint Eastwood. The guy goes from making a picture where you just are revering Secret Service agents in one film, and then in the next film, they're total jerks. And he's persuasive in both. So I'm a huge Clint Eastwood fan. And a lot of people don't realize that an acronym for Clint Eastwood is Old West Action. There you have it. A big thank you to Michael for that like. Thank you for watching. Those of you that are watching, I would appreciate it if you would either share or you would retweet, because not a lot of people are awake yet. And so those of us that are awake right now, have to kind of look out for one another here, and we need to, make sure that other people that are awake are getting to see this video, because otherwise, who knows what they'd be forced to watch. They might have to listen to Curtis Lee or something. But if you can, please share this, and please give us a like, as Michael was kind enough to do there. And if you have comments as we're here, I'm happy to answer any questions on any subject that you have. I am proud to tell you, what is today? Saturday. I'm proud to tell you that I have now had 2 full days. Was it 2 full days? No, 3 full days, Thursday and Friday, because Saturday's not a full day. Okay. 2.5 days where I have not been the victim of an attempted Facebook scam. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, you can listen to the hour that we did on Thursday morning in the 3:00 hour. There's a link to that. I don't think it works, but if you're watching on Facebook, you can see in the description the link. It's the second segment. Rather than retell the whole story now, I would encourage you to go back and listen to the podcast. And you can always listen to any of the podcasts that we're doing by going to fmwabc.com. That's fmwabc.com. Thank you as well to Ingra for watching and for the like. Please be so good as to share this and to, let us know you're there, so that we can more people come up in the algorithm that are seeing this. But a lot of people have reached out to me in the coming, since we told that story on Thursday morning, saying that they were almost the victim of some sort of a Facebook scam, or some sort of fake telemarketer or something along those lines. If that's happened to you, I'd be curious. Put in the comments, share your story about what precisely happened to you, and how it happened, and how you were able to avoid it, if you were able to avoid it. It was really a sad thing hearing those stories of callers who called in and talked about how they were victimized in a similar manner. So I hate to hear that. And you hate to think that there's just so many evil people out there in the world who are doing that sort of a thing. It's very, very disconcerting, to say the least. All right. But so far, no additional scams, and I haven't noticed any problems with my phone, or any of my data, or any of my bank accounts, or anything that might have been a result of that. So thank you to everybody who inquired. Checking in, David Stone watching and giving us a like. Thank you very much. And if everybody watching can be so good as to share this and encourage other folks to watch this as well. It's now, as we sit here live, it is now 2:30 in the morning on Saturday morning. And I imagine a lot of you are going to watch this a little later when you wake up, on whatever format you want to watch it on. But I have such a difficult time, usually on Friday morning, on Fridays into Saturdays, switching back to a conventional sleeping style. Now, a lot of times I'm the beneficiary, I know this sounds odd, of not getting a lot of sleep on Friday morning, because that will allow me to go to sleep at the same time that Rachel does, and that we're kind of on the same schedule for the weekend. But that was not the case today or yesterday. So I came home, I got home around 6. I slept about 2 hours, slept from 6 to 8 a.m. And then I woke up to take Carmine to preschool, took him to preschool, and then went and got a nap at my mom's from about 9:15 to 12:30. But it's not really a restful nap, because I kept, even though I had set an alarm and everything, I keep waking up thinking, that I'm going to be late for picking up Carmine from preschool. And so I kept waking myself up. It's not a restful sleep, even though in my brain, I know I have this alarm set. So I usually at that point, after I go to Carmine's preschool, pick him up, bring him home, put him down for a nap, I usually am just up for the day, in part because I have too many other things to do, and in part because of that strategy that I was just mentioning, that I want to go to bed around the same time that Rachel goes to bed. But for some reason, I was just so tired still when I came home on Friday afternoon after taking him from preschool. So when I put him for a nap, I went and took a nap myself and slept another 2 hours. Maybe not 2 hours, but another hour and a half. And so it was good on the one hand in that I got rest that I really needed because I was tired and I felt pretty good. But on the other hand, I am now wide awake. I tried to go to bed with her around 9:30, 10 o'clock maybe, and then boom, I have been wide awake since 11:30 p.m. I read a chapter of my book. I got some other emails done and some other things, but I am now just wide awake, wired. I took a sleepy time tea. I got my Idala Bertuna and Kamens mug here. I took a sleepy time tea or drank a sleepy time tea. I'm going to take a melatonin now as well. I may take 2 melatonins because otherwise, if that doesn't knock me out, with a combination of the sleepy time tea and the melatonin, I don't know what would. I know. I mean, I could make myself a drink, but I hate to do that. I hate to kind of drug myself to go to sleep. So I'm trying the sleepy time tea, which I know is a form of drugging yourself, but I have to think it beats booze. David writes that the best sleep sets on 15 min before your alarm goes off. Yeah, I think I agree with that. Go with it. Stay awake and write it out. Well, but the problem is, David, I have a full Saturday of things to do. So by the time this afternoon comes around, I'm going to be crabby and exhausted and not able to do anything. So, I mean, I'm going to try and maybe I'll watch a movie if I can't fall asleep. I'm going to take a melatonin. I've already done a lot of reading. I have a lot of correspondence to do, a lot of work to get done. So there's no shortage of things to do. And believe it or not, this, as those of you who are awake right now know, is the best time to do it because no one can bother you. Carmine's not going to come running in here and, ask me for chocolate milk or something. But it's, it is what it is. But maybe I'll stay up and then maybe take a nap later if time permits. We're scheduled to get a haircut at noon. He's going to get a haircut, and then sorry, I got a crumb on my keyboard there. But I could probably use a haircut too. So maybe we'll both go and get a haircut. One of the things, Carmine was in quite a mood yesterday, I think largely because he didn't get much of a nap. So he was a little crabby. But one of the things that we had a little fun with yesterday is, I got this harmonica, and it's for me, but it's for both of us, I guess. And so he gets a kick out of the harmonica and how it makes noise. He gets a lot of times frustrated that he can't always figure out how to make the noise. He'll try and blow, but then he'll end up just trying to make the noise with his voice. He'll go rather than. I don't really know how to play the harmonica, but I thought it would be fun to try and learn. So yesterday, while Carmine was playing with his cars, I had this harmonica out, and I was watching a video on how to learn the harmonica. And I didn't really learn much. I just went with step one and watching this video, which is only, 5 or 6 minutes. I mean, you can't really learn too much of anything in 5 or 6 minutes. But the first thing they taught you, or they teach you in this video, is the breathing and tone, and basically how to make train noises. So that's basically what we learned in our first harmonica lesson. So who knows? Well, now it might just sound like a steam engine. Come a year from now, if we keep at it, maybe will become. I'll be ready for Blues Traveler, or ready to be in some sort of a jazz group or something. So that was our shared adventure yesterday, is trying to learn the harmonica. Hey, I saw yesterday that Joe Manchin, the senator from West Virginia, is making the decision to become an independent. He's changing his registration from Democrat to independent. I mean, I'm not sure how significant this is on the one hand, because he is leaving the U.S. Senate and he'll be gone at the end of the year. And, as far as his voting record goes, he really already is an independent. Sometimes he goes with the Democrats, sometimes he goes with the Republicans. And because he's not running for anything this year, at least that's the plan, I think that, the effect is kind of minimal. But I like this. I'm an independent. And I like that he, as a national political figure, is becoming an independent, because I think it sends the message to a lot of voters and a lot of would-be political aspirants that, being an independent is something to consider. Right now, for instance, with Manchin's switching parties to become an independent, there are 4 independents in the U.S. Senate. Now, that's more than we've ever had, at least since we've had popular election of U.S. senators. And ironically, there are currently none in the House. So you'd think with 435 members of the House, you'd think you'd find at least 1 or 2 that are independent, and only 100 senators. You'd think that'd be less likely, but no, there are 4, just like the 4 horsemen. But no, Manchin becomes the 4th. The thing that's frustrating is Manchin and Sinema, who's one of the other 4 independents, were both elected as Democrats. So it really does kind of reinforce the idea in a lot of people's minds that if you want to have a seat at the table, if you want to have a say in government, in order to get elected, you have to be an independent. You have to be a Democrat or a Republican. And then once you get elected, you can switch to independent. Sanders is, who's one of the other 4, is a little bit of a different case, because at least as far as the Senate elections have gone since he's been in the Senate, it was different when he was in the House. He hasn't had a Democratic opponent. So even though he calls himself an independent and he might be registered an independent in Vermont, he really is not. I mean, for all intents and purposes, both within Vermont and nationally, he's a Democrat. The one exception to that rule is Angus King, the senator from Maine, a state that I really am eager to visit, who was elected truly as an independent, which I think is great. But more independence in politics, the better. I think it's great. Although obviously the kind of independent that Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin is very different than the kind of independent that Bernie Sanders is. But more independence in politics, the better, as far as I'm concerned. Speaking of independence, Bob Menendez, you might have heard my local commentary on this on the radio yesterday. And if you have not, been listening, you can just subscribe to the other side. Actually, it's Frank Morano Interviews and More. That's where the local commentaries come. So just search that on any podcast app, or just go to the website right at the bottom of the screen there, and you can listen to the podcasts, both local and national. I mentioned this in one of my local commentaries the other day, a couple of times. Frank Masano writes, Curtis is talking about your African scam. Should we turn it on? Let's turn it on. I'm afraid to turn it on because you never know. A lot of times I get frustrated and I can't, he doesn't take my calls when I call in. In North Miami Beach. See what he's saying. With the scabons, and we had ribs at Christine Lee's. Okay, he's not talking about me. So that's that. Park, but it was in a strip. All right, so he's not talking about my African scam anymore. But thank you for the heads up there, Frank. I appreciate that. Thank you, David Dabaleep, the other David, Ingra, and Michael, all for watching and for giving us a like. Everybody watching, please give us a like or a retweet or a share, depending on how you're watching this. I appreciate that. Oh, Frank said it was 10 minutes earlier. Well, I wish we would have known. We would have tuned in. Well, actually, I wouldn't have tuned in because it just drives me crazy because so much of what he says is inaccurate. So, Bob Menendez is currently collecting signatures to run as an independent. You only need 800 in New Jersey, which is great. It's much better than the 45,000 that you need in New York State. That's not a hyperbole or an exaggeration. That's the literal truth. Diane Sayre, who's running as an independent in New York for U.S. Senate, she just had to submit 70,000 signatures. I mean, the minimum is 45,000, but you need more because they always challenge. So in Jersey, you only need 800. But apparently what Menendez has done is he's getting ready to submit 10,000 signatures, which he says he wants to do to demonstrate a base of support. So far, I mean, he said if he's exonerated, he wants to run as an independent. I suspect there's more going on here, but I've shared those views on the air. You can listen to the podcast, Frank Morano interviews, and more if you want to see. But there was, New Jersey Politico NJ did a very interesting piece on this, and they dealt with the reporting in this NBC4 story. And in the courtroom, they tried to ask him about it. So this is from Politico, New Jersey, Politico NJ. NBC News reported Thursday that Menendez has more than 800 signatures required to get on the ballot and is hoping to file something like 10,000 as a statement of the level of support he still has. Yeah. But when asked about the report by the New York Times' Tracy Tully in the courtroom on Thursday, Menendez said, quote, "You shouldn't believe everything you read. You should verify it." Now, I mean, I've never liked Bob Menendez as a political figure. I do think he's sort of being a little railroaded here. But, and I always kind of root for the bad guy when it comes to criminal prosecutions, but not always, but often. And so part of me would love to see him give the DOJ a little bit of a comeuppance here. But the guy is just such a jerk. I mean, really, when a reporter is asking him about the details of this report, and he says, "You shouldn't believe everything you read. You should verify it." What do you think that is? What do you think a reporter asking him, "Hey, is this true?" That is the process of verification. That's exactly what she was trying to do there. What a jerk. I mean, my goodness. But we'll see. And I also think he's a jerk for this defense that he's mounting in this federal criminal case where he's just trying to blame his wife. Now, who knows? Maybe if it works and it turns out to be effective, we'll all be talking about what a genius he is. But it's very unchivalrous. I'll say that, but we'll see. New Jersey does not have a good record of electing independents. I don't think they've ever elected an independent for statewide office. Most states have elected at least some independent to something, but not in the state of New Jersey, at least not statewide. Is Bob Menendez going to be the one to buck that trend? I don't know. Those of you that are watching, especially those of you that watch this later, I'd be curious to know in the comments why you think New Jersey has such a poor record of electing independents, because almost every state has elected some, but not New Jersey. The best that an independent ever did for statewide office was in 2013 with Chris Daggett. And I wonder why that's the case. He only got 5.5% of the vote. And that's the best anyone in New Jersey's ever done. Why? What is it about New Jersey that leads them to, they elect Democrats, they elect Republicans? Why no independents? I'm curious, especially if you're a New Jerseyan, if you have a theory as to what it is that makes New Jersey so anti-independent, at least on an electoral basis. So I'll be curious to know your take on that. Also, I saw that Harvard will refrain, from issuing statements on public matters that do not directly affect the university's core function. That's a quote. It remains to be seen how tightly that's defined, but the architects of this new policy say it's not as strict as the institutional neutrality approach preferred by the University of Chicago. This is absurd. Why are any of these colleges making statements on public matters that don't directly affect them? I mean, I have said from Jump Street It's crazy for colleges to be making statements on the Middle East or on George Floyd or on healthcare or on taxes. If there's an issue directly related to these colleges, by all means, make a statement. But for them to pontificate on everything, I find it to be just absolutely idiotic. Hey, I want to give my condolences to Marion Robinson, the mother of Michelle Obama. She's passed away. There's a statement that Michelle Obama put out on Twitter. She was in her late 80s. And it's obviously, no matter how old you are, it's never easy to lose a parent or a grandparent. And I'm sure the Robinson and Obama families are very, very upset over this, and give my condolences sincerely to the Obama family and to the Robinson family. She apparently was very involved in all of her grandchildren's lives and that sort of thing. So sorry to see that. All right. By the way, those of you watching on Facebook, whether you're watching live or whether you end up watching a little bit later, do please share this. Click that share button. And please be so good as to send stars. You could send stars. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do become a subscriber. You can become a subscriber by going to facebook.com/become supporter /Morano fan. And then there's this alternate method that Brandon was the first to pinpoint, where you can click the overview button under the comments box, then scroll to the bottom and click the subscribe button. It's only 99 cents a month, and it is the best 99 cents a month you can ever spend. Just ask David Stone there. He knows. And by the way, this is a great Barry Windham t-shirt, which I bought from his online store. If you are interested in buying any Frank Morano gear, you can go to wabcradiostore.com and do just that. Hey, I want to thank, I'm not sure if I thanked them already, but I want to thank one listener, Apples, who went to the premiere of the William Shatner documentary, You Can Call Me Bill, and they got me this poster, which is pretty cool. I want to put this on one of my walls here, but I don't know if I want to put a thumbtack in there. Well, I guess I can. I mean, I don't think it's it's not going to be valuable or anything, right? It's no big deal if I put 4 thumbtacks in the corner, right? I could find a spot on the wall, but I think it's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Thank you to Apples. I don't believe I've met Apples, but I guess she's a listener, and she is very good to do that. So I appreciate that, and I was sorry that I couldn't be there myself. We were in Disney World at the time for my father's birthday. It was one of those milestone birthdays, so I was not able to make the premiere. But it was kind of the folks that did go, including Lauren Conlon, who also got me a poster as well to bring me something back. All right. So Lorraine, who many of you may know, especially if you're in Staten Island, Lorraine Scanny, great lady, and a good friend, and she used to be our son Carmine's babysitter. She came by to visit the other day, just to check in on Carmine and see how he was doing and that kind of a thing. And I also, when she was coming to our house every day to watch Carmine, I had a standing offer to her. You see all the books that are around. I had a standing offer to her that if she ever wanted to borrow a book, just borrow it. Just borrow it and bring it back when you can. And she came by yesterday, returned a couple of books that she had borrowed. And she also borrowed a couple of books that are on the shelf, which is great. But I'm going to show you this. I have this one section of books, which might be the next thing that I read. And it's this section. I call it the fishbowl. Oh, can you see? Yeah. It's this section of books, right? That might be the next thing that I read. Now, I was in the middle of something. I think I was preparing an interview or doing an interview. And I saw that one of the books that Lorraine borrowed was one of the books that's in the fishbowl. Now, the way the fishbowl works is every time I finish a book, I then go to the fishbowl to pick out blindly the next book that I'm going to read. And she took one of those. So now I'm wondering what will happen if I finish a book before that book is returned? Do I go to the fishbowl and put a placeholder in for that book? And if that book wins, I start maybe the Kindle version of it, the e-version of it. Do I take it out from the library to start? Do I replace something in the fishbowl with another book in that same category? I'm not sure how to do it. My best case scenario is she reads quickly and I read slowly, which is true, and that she finishes this book before I finish the book that I'm reading now, which is about the Middle East. All right. Rob Fate writes, oh, yes. Gail writes, Curtis is crazy this morning. He must need sleep. Gail, if it's a day that ends in a Y, Curtis is crazy, but I think you are probably correct. Those of you that are watching, please be so good as to share this. So that's that. Hey, this is, I'm reluctant to mention this, but I will. If my wife is watching, she'll get upset that I have brought this up. But this is, it's a serious question. And I'm going to, she was a little annoyed with me yesterday for some reason. I'm not sure why. But if we have breakfast together this morning, I'll bring this up with her. I'm trying to figure out, we have been trying to keep Carmine, who's 2, away from screens. We do let him watch television. Not a lot. He already, even though it's not a lot, I think it's already too much, right? He does have some shows that he watches, and if we need to calm him down, we'll allow him to watch it. All the boys on our block are a little older, and they have these iPads or tablets, I don't know what they are, these small personal wireless devices that they watch videos and play video games on. And I really don't like him to use them. And I try to keep them away from him. So yesterday, for instance, it's a beautiful day, and we're outside and we're playing with the neighbors' children, and one of them and they're both older, great kids. One of them goes inside to play video games on this beautiful day, and Carmine wants to go inside. And I say, absolutely not. No way, no how. And one of the other little boys, who's just a couple of years older than Carmine, who he just adores and really looks up to, he's outside at least, but he's outside with his tablet. And here's a picture of them on the of this young man using his tablet, and Carmine is really into it. He's smiling. He's making comments about the dog. He's seeing what's going on there. He's really into it. And I just wonder how to handle this, because what do? You say, all right, Carmine, let's go home. And he cries. Do you say, all right, I'm going to come and play with you, across the street at our house outside? And then he's deprived of playing with his peers. And, this boy's mom, I mean, you really can't tell other children what to do, obviously. But the boy's mom did say to him, why don't you guys go play a sport or something? Because I think she knows I'm not crazy about the iPad and at least Carmine being involved. And her son didn't want to play with a sport, didn't want to do something else. He wanted to just stay and play on his iPad. And so what am I going to do? So ultimately, Carmine was getting a little ornery at that point anyway. And I took him home and we did other things. But I imagine this is something that a lot of parents deal with when they're trying to keep their child relatively screen-free, when all of their peers are engaged in all of this screen time, playing video games and watching movies. How do you handle that? I don't have a good answer. Again, sometimes it works where you say to both the boys, both my son and whoever's got the iPad, hey, why don't we do something else? Why don't we play tag or wiffle ball or something along those lines? Sometimes it works, but sometimes they don't want to. And what do? You can't force other people's children to come off the iPad. I'm curious if you're a parent or a grandparent, and if you've been in this position, how you handle this. because I really don't know how to handle it. I want him to spend time with other children, but I don't want him to spend time looking at a screen. And because he looks up to them, one, he gets transfixed on these screens to begin with. But because these are children that he really admires and looks up to, because they're so into playing these video games on the screen, he wants to do what they do. And I mean, you can see how happy he is, both looking at the screen and playing with the other little boy. I don't know how to handle it. I mean, the one thing that I did enjoy, as you can see in this picture, they gave him some peanut butter pretzels, and I'm encouraging him to eat as much peanut butter as possible, because as I indicated in, I think it was Friday's show, I don't remember, I've lost track of what day is what. There is new data which shows that giving children under the age of 5 peanuts and peanut butter could prevent allergies. Let me see if I could share this with you. Which we've known that it can long prevent allergies among children, but now we're seeing that can actually prevent allergies for the rest of their lives. Look at this. Feeding babies and young children smooth peanut butter could provide lifelong protection against peanut allergies. This is according to a long-term UK study. And you saw the number of hospital visits for food-related anaphylaxis in New York City, 2000 to 2014. Look at the number of hospitalizations of, for peanuts and ER visits, fish, tree nuts. So it's a big problem. So previously, researchers found that children who ate peanut butter before age 5 were far less likely to develop a peanut allergy than those who avoided it. Now, those same kids are teenagers, and they are 71% less likely to have an allergy than their peanut butter avoiding peers, regardless of whether they kept eating it or not. So let's say, you load your child up with peanut butter before the age of 5, and after 5, they never touch peanut butter again. They still have, now I could all of a sudden go for some peanut butter. Maybe I'll have some peanut butter now. I'm just trying not to eat because I figure I'm going to hopefully have breakfast with Rachel and Carmine around 8:30 before Smirkanish. But I don't know. I am kind of hungry. But maybe I'll do another cup of tea and take a melatonin and, I don't know, read more or get some work done. But anyway, but now I do have a hankering for peanut butter. Those same children are teens, and they're 71% less likely to have an allergy than their peanut butter avoiding peers, regardless of whether they kept eating it or not. And this is vindication for the study's lead scientist, Gideon Lack. He conceived the once very controversial theory after noting that Israeli children eat a lot of peanut snacks and have far lower rates of peanut allergies than children elsewhere. Isn't that interesting? So I'm encouraging all of the parents of young children that I know, give your kids peanut butter. Give it to them early. Expose them to as many allergens as possible, as early as possible, which is contrary to the conventional wisdom of 5 or 10 years ago. All right. Please share this video. Those of you that are watching it, those of you that are watching on Twitter, the YouTube, or Facebook, if you have a question, let me know. Put it in the comments there, and I'll be happy to answer it. But I would appreciate it whenever you watch this, even if it's when you wake up, share this. Share this and let some other folks know, because we're trying to get more views. We're trying to get more subscribers. And we're trying to get more people to send stars. The other thing that I've mentioned in previous videos, I have this bottle of Salone 1985, a really just incredible piece of, it's an incredible bottle of champagne. And it is, it goes for between $2,500 and $3,000, and I've been having difficulty selling it. If anyone wants to buy it, message me. Or what I was thinking of doing is doing a raffle where I sell these raffle tickets. I sell 100 raffle tickets for $25 a chance or $30 a chance. If you want to buy one of these raffle tickets, I'm not going to institute the raffle until there's enough interest in it to do it. So until 30, 40 people say, yeah, I'll buy a raffle ticket, I'm not going to do it and then not be able to sell them all, because I don't want to put anybody in a bad spot. And I also don't want to, be left with the dilemma of what do I do if there's 70 unsold spots. So let me know if you're interested in buying one of these raffle tickets. You can message me or you can comment, say, oh, yeah, I would probably do that. This is an unofficial, just kind of taking the temperature of who would be interested. And if we have 30, 40, 50 people all saying they're interested, then it's something that we'll pursue. Send stars, listen to the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the Facebook page. If you ever want to email me, you can always email me, frank.morano@redappleaudionetworks.com. You can also find us on the YouTube. A lot of great videos on the YouTube. You can even text me, 816-8-MORANO, 816-8-MORANO. If you listen to the show regularly, we would encourage you to join the Facebook group at facebook.com/group/Morano/Radio Morano. It's a wild group. That group can be tough. So it takes it takes a tough skin. If you don't understand what we were talking about at the beginning of this, listen to Thursday's program in the 3:00 hour. Just go to wabcradio.com and click on podcasts, and you can go to the other side of midnight, listen to Thursday, just that hour, second segment. All right. Unless anybody else has questions, I am going to answer some more emails. And then, I'm going to, one of the things I try to do is email my son from time to time. We have this email address that is set up for him. And I try to email him, different notes of things that I'm thinking, things that he's doing, things that I'm doing, so that maybe when he's older, he can go back and look at these. So that's the next thing that's on my agenda, unless anybody else has any questions or anything. Going once, going twice, sold, no questions. All right. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. I think we're going to get some great weather. And if I see you in the neighborhood on Staten Island, please be sure to say hello. Carmen and I will be getting haircuts today. So if you're in the Eltingville area and you see us walking around, please beep. Those of you that watch this, whenever you watch this, please do share it. Please share it on your timeline. Please retweet, and please send stars and subscribe if you're watching on Facebook. I'll be back on the radio Sunday night into Monday morning, and I hope you'll be with me. I don't know what we have planned yet, but I'm working on some interesting things. I'll see you on the radio.